There's a moment that happens a lot for choirs. It's usually a board meeting. Someone has a spreadsheet open. Ticket sales were solid. Membership dues are steady. But then someone does the math and says, if we actually want to grow, we need another $50,000. And that's when it comes up. What about grants? At that point, one of two reactions. Some people lean in, others lean back, because grants have a reputation. They're either the promised land or a bureaucratic maze that eats your time and gives nothing back. And the truth is somewhere in the middle. And if you understand how grants actually work, they stop being mysterious and start becoming a system you can use. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Choir Genius channel. I'm Tom Metzger. Most of the revenue streams we've talked about in this series, tickets, dues, donations, come from your own community. But grants are different. They're institutional money, and that makes them powerful, but also a bit intimidating. I've seen this from a few angles, working with choirs through Choir Genius and serving on boards like Vancouver Youth Choir, Phoenix Chamber Choir, and Van City Harmony, and one pattern shows up over and over. Choirs don't fail at grants because they're bad writers. They fail because they're not prepared. So instead of treating grants like a one-time opportunity, the choirs that succeed treat them like a system. Like many of our videos, by the way, this is an overview. For all the details, we've got a long-format blog entry on choirgenius.com, link in the description. So step 0, should you even do this? Before tactics, ask a simpler question. Do you actually want to pursue grants? Because this is not casual work. Grants require planning, coordination, documentation, and follow-through. And even if you do everything right, you might not get funded. For larger choirs with admin support, that trade-off often makes sense. But for smaller, volunteer-led groups, it can be a stretch. A useful framing is this. If we invest serious time into this and get nothing, was it still worth it? If yes, keep going. So step 1, what grants actually fund. Here's the first mindset shift. Grants do not fund your concert because it's beautiful. They fund your concert because of what it does. Education, community engagement, accessibility, cultural development. So instead of describing what you're performing, you're describing why it matters. That shift from activity to impact is everything in grants. Step 2, the grant ladder. Grants are not a one-time win, they're a progression. You start small, like project grants, you deliver, you report, then you do it again. Over time, you build credibility, and eventually that can lead to more stable funding, but only after consistency. Trust is earned. Step 3, where the money comes from. The structure depends on where you are. Canada, for example, where I live, is relatively structured. The US has a lot more options, but more fragmentation. And Europe tends to be larger and more collaborative, but the principle is universal. You're aligning your work with someone else's priorities. Now, if you're getting value from this series, you're probably thinking seriously about how to build something sustainable for your choir. And that's exactly what we focus on at Choir Genius. So, if this is useful, like the video, share it with someone on your board or a friend, and subscribe to this channel. We're breaking down every major revenue stream choirs actually use, and you don't want to miss any of those episodes. All right, now here's the part that really determines success with grants. Step 4 is finding the right grants. This looks like a research problem. It's actually a systems problem. Grants come with constraints, geography, mission, eligibility, and timing. So you're not looking for all grants, thankfully. You're looking for the ones that fit. The choirs that succeed keep a simple pipeline, opportunities, deadlines, and notes, just in a spreadsheet to start with. Over time, that list becomes a huge asset that you can't live without. Step 5 is the data problem, and this is where most choirs fail. Applications are not really won in the writing phase. They're won before that, when the information is ready. Without solid data, every application is a scramble. And with it, writing becomes straightforward. Step 6 is to build a grant data room, and this is a super high leverage move. Create a central place, either physically or online, for who you are, what you've done, who you've reached, what impact you've had, and how you're funded. When this exists and is current, everything else gets easier, so you just have to maintain it as things happen. Step 7, writing applications that win. Once the groundwork is there, writing is simple. Strong applications align with funder priorities, describe specific outcomes, and connect to something larger. And weak ones stay vague or force a bad fit, so clarity wins in this case. Step 8, let's talk about the trade-offs. There's a real tension here. Grants influence what you do, so it's worth asking, are we shaping our work to fit the grant or finding grants that fit our work? The best choirs balance both. That's probably the way to optimize it for you too. Step 9, timeline reality. Grants are slow. You plan, you apply, you wait. There's a decision. You then deliver, you report. This can take months. You're often working on the next application before hearing back on the last one. Over time, a pattern emerges. The choirs that succeed are not the most talented, they're the most consistent, the most organized. They treat grants as a system, and they apply regularly, and they improve those applications over time, every time they do it, whether they win or they don't win. Now, the one habit that makes it work. Across everything in grants, one habit matters most: preparation. That's the difference. You have to invest all of that time and energy up front to have all the data that you need for a wide variety of grants you might want to apply for. If you can do that, you're golden. So now the moment you've all been waiting for: where do grants land on the choir revenue leaderboard? So first, for stability, it's 2 out of 5 early on, rising to 4 out of 5 once you have repeat funding. Scalability, it's 3 out of 5, limited by eligibility and funder priorities. For cost, it's mostly time and sometimes staff, and that's a 3 out of 5. And for control, decisions are external here, so it's 2 out of 5. And the final verdict: grants are a high-effort, high-impact revenue stream best suited to choirs willing to treat them as a long-term system, and the average score is 3.0. So let's wrap this up. Grants can unlock things that would otherwise be impossible: new projects, new programs, new levels of impact, but they're not easy money. They will reward the same things that make choirs successful in the first place: preparation, consistency, and a clear sense of purpose. And when those are in place, grants can be transformational. Now, be sure to subscribe to this series if you want to see the next video, which is all about corporate sponsorships. Have a great day.